Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of IndieTention. As always, my name is Kaiser. We're checking out a game called Love, Money, Rock and Roll, a game that's developed and published by Soviet Games that first launched on Kickstarter in September 2016, I believe. It's finally out on Steam on 4th August 2022, so courtesy of Soviet Games for providing us the key to cover this game on the channel. Now, according to the Steam store page, it reads Love, Money, Rock and Roll, the romanticism of the 80s, mystery and intrigues, betrayal, sacrifice, and hatred and passion, all this and more in the new game from the creators of the legendary visual novel Everlasting Summer. Without further ado, let's check out Love, Money, Rock and Roll. Please choose the game appearance. You can change this setting anytime. Beauties and eye beholder. Let's see. Initially it was on clean, but I had it to immersive. I can't tell what's the difference though. So let's stick with our initial choice, immersive. Third of April, 1987. Even before I was born. These falling sakura petals. Does anyone really find them beautiful? Does anyone really see a deep meaning in their world? Maybe this interplay of color, the purple velvet against the setting sun, does mesmerize. Back then, I must have thought the same as I watched the leaves fall. Maybe too much time has passed. I've forgotten. I have changed. Only the trees are still the same. They don't care. They came into the world before me and they will yet outlive my descendants. They don't care for the beauty of their falling petals in just speed, direction, or angle. It's all the same to them. Why would they bother with such minutiae, pardon me. To them, this is nothing more than a routine change of seasons. To me though, it is a flood of memories. The tree in front of me now is exactly the same as it was that day. The day when I had to do something, the day when it was too late to do anything. It is the same. The same are the petals too, falling with perfidious indifference. They truly don't care. They don't care if one day a photographer makes an entire exhibition of their images, or if a pair of sweethearts fall even more deeply in love, enchanted by their ceaseless dance. That's how nature is. It's not how I am. Same as that day a year ago. That day the petals were falling off the tree as well. Back then, nature was lying down, not dying, no, but falling asleep, to wake up again in the spring, its fire of life rekindled. Sitting under the tree, I remember all the joy and all the sadness. Do you really love me? Yes. Truly? Yes. She turned away while the petals kept falling, getting tangled in her hair and making her look even more beautiful. You know, cherry petals really suits you. She turned around. She probably didn't want to. She probably expected something else. Elegant phrases, intelligent words, something that wasn't this. Really? Yes, of course. She smiled. I too must have expected something different, feelings, confessions as beautiful as those fluttering petals. But at that time, those words were more important to me than anything else. More important than the tree, more important than the moment, more important than life itself. Because I realized that they were like a petal resting in my hand before it fell to the ground. So near, so fragile, so precious. 12th of June 1987. I woke up. Fan was humming as obnoxiously as ever. Its noise must have been what woke me up. I was sick of it, of course, but it was a necessary evil. The summer heat was relentless, even with the doors open. It was 3 in the morning, and the silence was sickening. Dear God, better to hear the blaring of police sirens, or the shouting of tipsy neighbor, or the screeching of a car tires. Anything but this obnoxious fan. I would have turned it off long ago, but then I would have certainly been cooked alive by the heat. Hell, Russian winters had nothing on Japanese summers. With effort, I got up and went to the kitchen for some water. What were Russian winters like anyway? Muffled creaking came from the floorboards under my feet. But the rest of the house, which consisted of 3 bedrooms, a living room, a bathroom, and some pantries, paid no attention to its sole inhabitant. Damn, it really was 3 a.m. I gulped the water down greedily, spilling half over myself. Next morning, I had to go to school. Had to? Why exactly? Maybe I was the one who came up with these stupid duties and responsibilities, straddling myself with the necessity of socializing and waiting for the useless piece of paper that would attest to me possessing a high school education. I must have invented this world myself, as was my own. I must have made it up alongside all the other worlds that I fabricated daily, for myself, for those I knew, for the whole world. These obligations were nothing but stupid conventions of that world. By a stroke of bad luck, it was also the world that most people viewed as the real one. Poured myself another glass of water and returned to bed. The moon shone brightly, animating every speck of dust. In its mournful light, my room looked entirely different, like a portal to another world. A world that was beyond even my imagination. A silver ray fell on the table, inching towards a heap of papers. School papers, an unfinished novel, letters from my mother, from friends in Russian, and I got up and put a particular scrap of paper into a drawer. Has it been a year since it arrived? Or why should it even bother me? Then again, why was it on my table? I should have tossed it long ago. Jumped up, took a step towards the table, and came to a halt. How could I? It's not as if I hadn't tried before. More than once. And the phone rang loudly. Very loudly. It was 3 in the morning. Who could possibly need to talk to me at this hour? To a dejected high schooler sunk in self-reflection, although I was used to it. Hello. Hi, you're not asleep? As you can tell, I felt a strong desire to hang up and disconnect the phone. But stronger still, I wish that she could be here now, close by. How come? How should I know? Probably because she called me. She mumbled something unintelligible. How are things in general? How should things be in general at 3 in the morning? I don't know, great. Then they are great. I'll quit it. Well, what do you want to hear? I just wanted to call. You thought it was okay to call at 3 in the morning? I saw the light came on in your kitchen, so I figured you were up. Are you spying on me? No, I was just... The light went silent for a few seconds. She must have been trying to think of something that wouldn't sound too ridiculous. It's just that I couldn't sleep either. Why either? What if I had been sleeping? But you weren't. Alright, let's start from the beginning. What did you want? I wanted to know She paused mid-sentence as if working up the courage before continuing more confidently. Are you coming to school tomorrow? What if I am? Then I'll come to get you in the morning. Now, that's just great. 3 in the morning and you're going to come by when? In 3 hours? So we won't be late. You know what? I think I'm going to pass. Yeah, you gotta keep missing school. At this rate, you won't be able to graduate, and then you won't be able to find a job, and then she got entirely tangled up in predictions for my future. Oh well, no biggie. It won't be a biggie. Leave the door unlocked. In the morning, You have your keys. Why does it matter if I lock the door? Alright, see you in the morning then. See you. I didn't feel like arguing. What was the point anyway? She would come and wake me up regardless. It's what she did almost every day. Why did I give her keys? Well, it was a while back. Must have been about a year. The cherry petals were probably falling on that day as well. But to hell with them, I made sure to set my alarm so I'd be up before she came. Not that it mattered much, but this was getting old. What's more, I worried that I was getting too accustomed to it. Seeing a familiar face every morning, pendant even, which was something I absolutely couldn't allow to happen. So if she wanted to come in the morning, fine, but she wouldn't be waking me up again. September 1987. A 100 bells chimed with 1,000 melodies in my head, announcing the morning. In that medley were the cheerful chirpings of birds, the construction on the neighboring streets, the boisterous shouts of street vendors, the damn fan that hadn't quit humming for a second, and the grumpy muttering somewhere close by. The fixed gaze of large green eyes, the pouting lips, and the 2 red braids all informed me that I had slept in. What time is it? The girl picked up the alarm clock and shoved it in my face. But it's still early, I protested. The early bird gets the worm. This is Himitsu. I feel like I've known her my whole life. Well, at least since my parents and I moved to Japan. Mother's version, although she divorced Himitsu's father when we were still children. Okay, enough lounging around. Time to get up, wash up, eat breakfast, and go to school. This is how most of my days start. Though. After all these years, I've grown used to it. Incidentally, I forgot to introduce myself. Nikolai, a high school senior. Nico-kun? Himitsu's voice carried throughout the entire house, and it no longer felt quite so empty and lonely. I quickly showered and dressed, then went into the kitchen. This house really was so big for one person. In fact, it was probably designed for multi-generation families. A family, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren. All the empty spaces felt oppressive even when my parents were still with me. Now it felt like a museum or library. Who in the right mind would want to live in one of those, especially by themselves? Bon appetit. Same to you. An omelette and several kinds of salad graced the table. I picked up a piece of cucumber with my chopsticks and lazily rolled it around the table with the plate. Not hungry? I am, but I can't live off grass like a rabbit. Mitsu frowned. So instant ramen is better in your book. I don't know about better, but it's certainly tastier. Hey, she puffed out her cheeks comically, which made her look like a cute hamster. I put real work into it, you know. KO. I could say nothing to counter that, so I concentrated on chewing. What are you planning to do after school? I don't know. Kyosuke wanted to go to the movies, I think. Did you have another idea? She set her chopstick aside and looked at me intently as if about to say something important. Maybe. She laughed, trying to hide her embarrassment. Never mind, it's not important. Himitsu is in love with me. I've known this for a long time, but I haven't done nothing about it. At some point I grew so used to it that I couldn't tell anyone whether she loves me as a brother or a man. To be perfectly honest, I didn't care one way or another. If you want to go somewhere, I can reschedule the movie. You can do without me tonight. Her face gleamed with an earnest smile. Well, actually I wanted to check out this one store near the station. It's just open. The girls at school won't stop talking about it. Someone else in my shoes might have considered this a date, but I simply enjoyed spending time with Himitsu. She seemed content with our arrangement too. You haven't finished your breakfast. Nor did I plan to. I may still have to eat more grass for lunch. Why don't you ever make borscht or dumplings or something? Borscht isn't breakfast, and besides, I've made it before. Himitsu pouted. She had made it before, true, but not in the same way I remembered from my childhood. I wasn't about to tell her that. It's one thing not to know how to do something, you can always learn. It's quite another to both know and do, yet fail to meet expectation. Well, that's the case, there's a good chance that you'll never learn. You're right. Sorry, your boss is very good. Boss, yeah, boss. I repeated. Himitsu glared at me. Anyone else in the place would have long since emptied this bowl of imaginary bosh over my head. So what's this store you were talking about? They sell clothes. She kept staring at me. Dresses, sweaters, skirts, clothing, women's clothing. Do you think maybe you should go with one of your girlfriends then? I'm not saying no, it just might be a bit awkward. Why? I know, just the way things are here. And you know how I'm not always great with the local customs. I was telling the truth. Anyone else would have long since gotten used to the Japanese way of life, the Japanese traditions and cultural norms. Or at least to the ways of the ways of the local high schoolers. That's no one is going to think anything. It's not like we are. Himitsu now completely flustered, which was making her upset. I couldn't tell if she was more upset with me or with herself. Sometimes when I talked to Himitsu, and not only her, I would hit a dead end. I no longer knew what was expected of me, while the other person couldn't understand why I didn't get it. In the end, the entire meaning of the conversation would end up buried under an avalanche of misunderstanding, which snowballed with every new remark. At such times, it was better to agree or to remain silent. Alright, it's fine. No one's going to think anything. Why would they? Exactly. Himitsu said triumphantly and went to wash the dishes. How was this kind of weather early in the fall, called in Russian? Grandma's summer? In Japan, at any rate, it's still very hot at the beginning of September. Himitsu walked alongside me, smiling. I occasionally glanced over at her, trying to figure out what was on her mind. Not that I was particularly interested, more likely I was just trying to distract myself from my own thoughts. The image of falling cherry petals kept surfacing in my mind, dragging up painful memories. As for Himitsu, she never broached the subject. She was keen to avoid reopening the wound, or was she just showing tact? Hey, Earth Nico-kun, do you copy? What? I'd clearly been daydreaming. We're almost there and you're still sleeping? Mitsu knit her brow. As always, the displeasure looked more comical than intimidating. I'm not sleeping. I'm solving the world's problems in my head. Oh yeah, what sort of problems? She laughed. Political sort? Not even geopolitical. Who else will solve them if not yours truly? Your grades are a little underwhelming for a future politician. That's not the point. There will be plenty of great people who didn't get the best grades in school. Take Einstein for instance. I see. Himitsu smirked. We would have probably kept chit-chatting like this if it weren't for a scuffle happening at the moment at the school gate. Several people had surrounded a girl from a distance. We couldn't see who it was. Look, said Himitsu quietly, slowing down. I listened in. She probably wears the same skirt all year. It's just a hand-me-down from older sister. How does a bum like her even get admitted to our school? It's not a halfway house. Go work at this fish market. Careful now, you might get something from her. It's not like I was going to, with her. Hey, you're onto something. I bet that's how she spends the night, earning a little side cash. Poor thing. So pause for a second. Isn't she in your class? I looked more closely. She did look familiar. I think so. Are you sure you don't even know who your classmates are? Of course I do. That's Naka, Hita, Iwamura. I fixed my hair and looked tranquilly at Himitsu. She was not impressed. In fact, she's our class president. Himitsu was still looking at me reproachfully. Well, what? I've never spoken much with her, and anyway, this is the first time we are together in the same class, so it's only been 6 months. Meanwhile, the scuffle, if you call it that, was picking up steam. The girl remained stubbornly silent, only dropping her head lower every minute. This only continued to encourage the bullies. Come on, who would pay money for someone like her? Except maybe a couple of hundred yen. The speaker made a show of opening his wallet, stuffed with bills, pulling out a handful and weighing them in front of Iwamura. This is really getting out of hand, I muttered under my breath. But the other students walked right on past, pretending not to notice anything. These damn traditions again, this isn't right. Nikakun, don't. Let's just tell the teacher. Himitsu tugged lightly at my sleeve. And what is the teacher going to do? Scold them? My, aren't you ashamed of yourself? I was starting to get worked up. If I had to think about it, what business of mine was this? A fellow classmate? So what? I hadn't exchanged more than a couple of words with her before this day. Still, it was hard to watch one poor girl get picked apart by entire batch. Ooh, I gotta intervene. Oh, I wonder what's that. Why should I stay on the sidelines? You know what I should have saved before this encounter? Just in case. What if Himitsu were in a place? After all, we weren't exactly the richest kids at this school either. Sorry? Himitsu only smiled slightly in response. Hey. I yelled and headed confidently in their direction. Leave her alone. At first they just looked at me in surprise. Iwamura, on the other hand, kept staring at the ground and didn't react at all. Oh my god. Indeed, 80s hairstyle, I like this. She seems like the girl who got bullied, huh? And who would you be? What do you care? Keep walking. Their tone was challenging, but that only boosted my confidence. 4 against 1, don't you think that's a bit unfair? You want some too, is that it? Two guys from the group stepped forward, cracking their knuckles for emphasis. Seems like they could do more than trash talk. What's the hero gonna do now? One of them smirked. And what? To tell the truth, I didn't know either. I've been compelled to stand up for Iwamura by some kind of inflamed sense of justice. No more. Because here, you weren't supposed to act this way, and there, you were supposed to help your neighbor. But Real life isn't manga or anime. In real life, I had no superpowers. You're about to find out. I got up close to one of them and froze. And what now? But the guy staggered back, clearly rattled. Who do you think you are? Same instant, the second guy rushed up to me, clearly intending to shove me in the chest. My reflexes kicked in before I could think. Oh, got him. Out swung my arm. Crack came the second of the assailant's jaw. The world around me seemed to freeze. Wamura, the other girls, even the guy who I had just punched, all stared, seemingly transfixed with surprise. But this only lasted an instant. Do you have any idea who my father is? One of the girls shouted. Don't yell, let's just go. He's some sort of psycho. And the girl tried to calm her friend down. The second guy helped his fallen friend up from the ground. This isn't over. We'll remember you. With these words, they quickly headed away from the school. My, I think we got ourselves into a bit of a trouble by helping others, by helping the girl. Shame that no one else had our back. Himitsu rushed over to me the same instant. Nikko-kun, are you alright? Yes, of course. I replied calmly while examining my slightly swollen fist. Surprisingly, I wasn't shaking with adrenaline, as might have been expected. Everything must have happened too suddenly. Iwamura-senpai? In all the commotion, I've forgotten all about the chief cause of this kerfuffle. I like how we're saying she's the chief cause of all this. Well, in fact, it's not her fault. She stood silently, peering sullenly at us from under her eyebrows. Are you alright? Fighting is prohibited on school grounds, she said quietly. What? A dumb smile spread across my face. I looked over at Himitsu. She looked just as confused as I was. I'm saying that there was no need to get into a fight. In case you haven't noticed, I was kind of defending you. They would have left me in the end. Gamura went silent for a second, then looked up at me. Her eyes flashed, but just as quickly her indifferent demeanor returned. They always do. Regardless, she could at least say thank you. Just common courtesy. I was more upset now than a minute earlier. And not only here, but in the whole wide world. Iwamura's only response was to raise her chin, snort, and quickly make her way towards the school gate. That's just unreal. I told you not to get involved. Himitsu said quietly. But you did act like a hero. Some hero, right? Where have you seen heroes like this? In movies, the heroes get thanked for saving someone. But you didn't do it for the sake of gratitude, did you? Himitsu kept smiling, which made me flustered. We'll see what sort of gratitude the teachers give me. I grumbled. Come on, let's go. Alright folks, before we continue on, that brings us to the end for this episode for IndieTention, where we took a look at Love, Money, Rock and Roll. A game that's developed by Soviet Games. Came out onto Steam on 4th August 2022. So far, it seems to be like quite of a high quality of visual novel expected for a visual novel that has been in the making for 6 years or so. Only got wind of it in 2019, so 3 years, as in more than 3 years, it's still quite a long time, I should say. That's it. Let me give you the price for Love, Money, Rock and Roll for number of regions. First of all, we have, I usually start with euros. Yes, for euros it's 19.99 euros. For US dollars it's 19.99 US dollars. 15.49 pounds. Where are you, Australia? Oh, for once Australia is not one of the most expensive ones. It's at 28.95 Australian dollars. For Singapore, I'm afraid for once it's quite on the high end here, with priced at $27.99. With that said, my name is Kaizer. For more IndieTention and for more Love, Money, Rock and Roll, you need to find it on the channel. If you guys enjoyed this episode, consider leaving a like and or subscribe. They'll be very much appreciated on my end. If you wish to pick up Love, Money, Rock and Roll, I'll be leaving down the link to the Steam store page in the description below. Until the next episode of either or, guys take care and I'll see you then. Peace out.